I applied in UK, which was very excruciating. I was like, oh God, finally.
From all rejects, you went to all of these.
Yeah. I was like, okay, when I applied for UK, I was hoping I may get rejected because obviously you have it. Like once you get rejected, your mind thinks you're gonna get rejected. I was like, you know what? If I get rejected at this point, I will just step aside and take a break or something and figure it out. But I got accepted from all the universities, not just one. I was just like, okay, this is good. But obviously, I had the decision to make which university to go to.
Right. Hi everyone, welcome to Ace My Prep. My name is Pragya, and today we are here with Monica. She is a student who is a PhD graduate currently in the UK. Sharing all these stories all over this while, we sort of got together over LinkedIn, we connected, and I think Monica has a wonderful story to share with every study abroad aspirant. So we just thought we'll welcome her, and I'm sure that this podcast is really going to be helpful for anybody who's looking forward to go to UK or is looking for a research-based program. For me to start with, I think, Monica, I'm going to ask you to give your introductions. Firstly, welcome to Ace My Prep. Welcome to this podcast. And let's hear from you who Monica is.
Thank you. It's my honor to join this podcast and share my experience. So, hi, I'm Monica, and I'm currently in my final year of my PhD. Just have like 4 months left for me to submit and get it over with. It's been a very exciting journey, difficult. It's a lot of emotions. I think it's been almost 6 years for me in UK. I started this journey in early 2019, and still here waiting to finish it. But yeah, so that's my journey, and my PhD is in environmental chemistry, which I love doing it. So yeah, that's me.
So Monica, you came to the UK. So you're based originally out of Dubai, I believe, and yeah. So you came to UK in 2019, as you mentioned. So you came for your undergraduate move.
No, so we have my master's. So I finished my undergraduate in Dubai, in Bitbilani, and I came to UK in September.
That was your master's. So which university did you study that from?
So I did my master's in University of York.
All right, and that's the same university you're doing a PhD from?
Yes, yeah.
All right. So how did this journey translate for you, getting into a very good master's program at a good university in UK? How was this journey?
So I think mine's been quite unique compared to the normal way. I mean, I'm pretty sure many people also go through this, but it's been slightly unique because UK was not in my list at all to go and study in abroad. I don't know why, but for some reason we just didn't consider UK, and my aim was to go to Germany in the initial when I was prepping from going to my masters. But obviously, as we started this whole thing, I handed over my thing to an education consultancy to manage. Which was fine in the beginning because I was so used to it. So we thought this was a standard procedure, which was just like you give your recommendations, you give what universities you want to go to, what's your study based on, and they give you a list of it and all that. And then you send out your CVs, your IELTS test, and all that, and they will just apply for you.
Right.
The reason why I did this was because I think I was in my final year of exams, so I couldn't just manage both of them. So I had to give it away to an education consultancy. But one thing they failed to tell me is, so my thing after my undergrad was I wasn't particularly happy with my subject. I was doing chemical engineering. I realized I was more into science, like the chemistry, the proper side of it, and the research, like working in the industry. So I kind of wanted to change my path to go into science. So the subjects I applied to go to Germany were mostly like science-based subject, like either chemistry, green chemistry, or sustainability, or biochemical, or like that. More chemistry, like science-based. Um, but the education consultancy, I don't know if they didn't know or they just failed to let me know that I couldn't change my stream like that in Germany.
Right.
Apparently, they require certain prerequisites
Mm-hmm.
to get admission, which I didn't have, obviously, because I did chemical engineering, which is very different kind of from the actual chemical. Yes, you do have a few subjects, but not all of them.
Yes.
So, um, so in Germany, you can't really change your streams. You need to apply the subject you've done in your undergrad and continue over it. So due to that, I in the admissions in Germany, which was a very stressful journey, getting rejection letters because you think you're a failure or something once you start getting the rejection letters.
That's right.
But obviously, I I was like, you know what? Let's be strong. I'm pretty sure it's not you. There must be something. And then I think the among all the rejection letters I've got, there's only one university, which I don't remember, actually sent me a proper detailed reason on why they rejected me,
Right.
which was very much appreciated, which I think many universities should actually start doing it. So this particular university which sent me actually stated that the reason for my not having an admission or getting is I didn't meet the prerequisites for this particular subject because I did a chemical engineering. So which made me realize, okay, this could be the major reason I'm getting rejected in all the other universities as well. And then I took all the matters into my hand, just gave up the education consultancies, and I just started browsing on, which country would be good for me to go into.
Yeah.
And then I realized UK, which is just right below Germany. Why not? It's straightforward. I know the language, but I have to work up for it.
Yeah.
It'll be pretty straightforward. So why don't I just try applying there? And I took the matters in my own hand, did all the research, which is like trying to find out what university is good, what's the subjects I want to do, which university is better for it. And based on that, I applied for University of York and another few universities. Obviously, I did get the offer letter from all the universities I applied in UK, which was very excruciating. I was like, oh god, finally.
All reject you went to all of these.
All of I was like, okay, when I applied for UK, I was hoping I may get rejected because obviously you have it. Like once you get rejected, your mind thinks you're gonna get rejected. I was like, you know what? If I get rejected at this point, I will just step aside and take a break or something and figure it out. But I got accepted from all the universities, not just one. And I was just like, okay, this is good. But obviously, I had the decision to make which university to go to.
Right. Which three universities were these?
So I got in University of York, University of Leeds, and Loughborough University.
Okay.
Yes, I think it's these three universities. I don't think so far as these three universities I remember. And the thing is so again, I had to do more research in deciding which university I have to select now. Because obviously, if I go in the basis of what's in the top of the list, like, the UK universities list, obviously it's a Loughborough University. Especially in what the stream I applied for. But also I was just like, so that's when I did my next step, which was trying to find out the coursework. And University of the York was actually having something which I absolutely liked, which is more research based than thought based, which means having exams and all. So which made me realize, okay, this is what I want to go to. And then the other thing is deciding on if this is a perfect place to stay and all. Obviously, UK is a country where actually I genuinely have no family members staying here because the only country where I think my whole family avoided for some reason. So there was no family, so there was no like trying to talk with someone. It's like, oh, which universities? Because as you know, when people go to abroad, especially US, I think US has so many family relations there, so it's easy to figure out. But UK was a completely different story for me. No one studied in UK ever in my family or anything. So it was all completely new and trying to find out which is a suitable place to stay. Obviously, right now, if you ask me, all of them are beautiful and perfect to stay. Uh, but back in 2019, when I had no idea how many places were in UK as well, I was just like, okay, I don't know this place at all, and my parents had no idea. So I had to Google literally people's experience in UK and which places like among like York, Leeds, and Loughborough, which students select.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, you could see they have great forums in Google where they actually have a student experience written and which one to select. And obviously, everyone in York's a beautiful place. It's just the best place among everything. I was like, okay, fine, you know what? Let's just give it a try. It can't be that bad. It won't be that bad because obviously coming from Dubai, I think it is a drastically different.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you. That coming from Dubai to, it's a very peaceful city that now
Yeah.
you're in.
Yeah, because many people were like, "Oh no, you will be seated in London or Leeds or Manchester, like which are very like copy paste from Dubai." I was just like, I kind of needed to change the environment as well. Kind of want to experience a different one, and I think York actually gives a proper essence of UK. Because I think if I stayed in Leeds or London, especially if I stayed in London or Leeds, I think I would have gone tired very quickly. But I think York has a very beautiful. It's very beautiful and very peaceful.
Very peaceful, definitely.
Especially taking long walks and all. And the university is also quite it's in a large estate. It's a very beautiful, big universities. You have ducks roaming around. You have it's a very beautiful university, I would say. And yeah, that's how I finally came to my conclusion that York's my place. And I applied and everything, and then the journey just started there.
So how has this journey been at York?
I love York. I think I've grown fond of York very quickly, and that's the reason why I'm here for 6 years. I think
Is that the reason you did your PhD?
Just being in York. I know. I think that's the reason why I did my PhD in York. I would say. But again, because my PhD as well, I did get multiple offers. But among the multiple offers, based on the situation and everything, York seemed perfect for me because I was used to it. I knew Nick and corner of this place. But the journey here has been quite exciting. It's been the most beautiful journey of my life. I would say it's been the best 6 years because I feel like I spent all my 20s in York and abroad, being alone, making new friends and all. I think it was quite the best experience, I would say. Yes, it wasn't a very smooth ride. Obviously, there were roller coasters. It was but if I keep all the negative aside and the positive, it's been amazing. And yeah, I think it's because, as I said, because I've spent all my early 20s to being an adult here. It's really big because I think I've stayed here longer than because in Dubai, we just recently moved before I came here. A new house. I don't think I've stayed there longer than I stayed here. So I know I'm aware of these surroundings and the house in my back home. I'm just like, I don't know. This seems.
So this is your real home now for
now, yes. It's been so long. But yeah, the journey's been quite beautiful.
So across this journey that you were applying these universities, and especially when you were applying to UK and you were doing these applications on your own, what did you realize the important point was that you would want to mention to any aspirants who are getting into it now?
So the one main thing I would want to say is don't choose your universities based on the ranking list. That's not how you go about it. Yes, I know that's the ideology we have is to choose the best universities, so your CV looks top star by the end of it, and you get the job you desire. But trust me, that's not how it's going to work. No matter how top the university is, if you're not happy with it, and if your education is not done properly, you won't get the job, or your CV will still look not good. So the thing is, stop going through the the top UK universities list. Whereas I think the first thing you actually need to do is decide on what you want to do. And based on that, choose your university, see which university is having these courses. And among that, you need to choose. That's the first step is obviously choosing a university, like which one you want to go through.
Right.
And then obviously you shortlist them, like these universities.
Right.
Don't worry if you're not in the top 10. It's fine. Because the ranking here is quite different. Yes, obviously you have the main universities like LSE, Oxford, and all in the top 10. But unless you really want to do something based there, fine. If not, don't push yourself there. Try finding the university which suits you better, like which course you want to do. And after that, the next step you should do is there's one thing good about the UK universities. If you go to their web page and choose a department you want to be in and select the master, they actually give you a breakup of the coursework, actually a proper detail of the 1 year breakup, how they break it up, and what are the subjects they're going to teach you. And in that, you can automatically realize, like, oh, okay, they have the subjects I want to learn. Because basically, masters is where you want to develop your skills.
Right.
Obviously, even if it's like me, if you have changed your career stream, you still want it, so you should be able to learn within a 1 year this new set of skills for this new subject. So you have to see if this coursework is actually providing you with that. If it's not, I don't think there is, no matter how much top the university is, there wouldn't be any point because you're just going there for the namesake and the popularity sake. You're not going to get any skills from there for your future.
Right.
Even that, the worst scenario is you just go blindly, you will hate it. You will absolutely hate it because you're not aware of what's happening. You're so new to it because, especially if you're a person who don't like research and go into a course which actually is providing you research, you will struggle and hate it.
Absolutely.
The second main thing is to actually look into the coursework, the detailed coursework the university provides you, see and compare with the other universities, and then pick.
Right. Right.
And obviously, if you're still having like to choose between, because that step should actually narrow it down to the university you desire.
Yeah.
But obviously, the time you went to universities, I think that's when you actually go to the rankings.
Right.
But also in the rankings, you need to choose the university which is in top in your department. Like for me, when I was choosing, the first thing I actually Googled was the top universities for green chemistry and sustainability courses, and that's when the University of York was in the top on the top 5 list, even though it's not in the, so that's when you can see the comparison, like, oh, okay, so this is the university which is well known for this course, which is true because this course is not available in all countries. And even in Germany, this course, it's taught by the professors from these universities through online. So even the University of York is not in the top 10 list or something, it's still in the top 10 list for my particular department, which is the priority. So the last final step for you to do is check the ratings of your universities for your particular department.
Right.
And that's how you go into it.
Right. Makes sense. I think the key takeaway then firstly filter out the curriculum they're liking, don't go for the ranking straight away. And then of course when let's say you have 10 universities for which the curriculums are great, then you talk of the course wise or the department wise ranking, which is a brilliant
Yeah.
way to actually shortlist.
Yeah.
Now, being a research aspirant, as you were looking into these curriculums or the modules in the program, or the other resources that the universities offer. So, should any research aspirant look for some sort of particular resources being given by universities in terms of research? Is there something particular that they can look up to when they're aiming for a research-based program?
So basically, I think especially so it's one good thing is in UK, I think most of the master universities have almost a similar coursework. Obviously, it varies. But University of York, I think the one standing out thing was they only had like one exam, like which was in December or something. I think which was in early Jan or something, like just one exam. And then after that one exam onwards, the entire rest of my masters was just research.
All right. Okay.
And I think many, as I said, many of the universities do offer this. I think University of Leeds also almost has the same coursework. I think Loughborough University actually didn't. It was more on a very coursework based. So they're actually teaching the modules and taking assignments, a very similar structure.
All right.
But I think some of the universities, especially I think it's a Russell Group universities. I would say most of the Russell Group universities have similar coursework where they mainly focus on research. So as a starting point, you need to look into if you want to pursue a career as a researcher,
Right.
is to see if your coursework actually offers you that. It's like a long term, like a long proper research, like for almost 6 months. Which will help you design your own experiments, carry out them, and write a proper thesis.
Right.
Because I think most of the time, some of the universities they do is so obviously you do have where you just help PhD students carry out the research and make a small contribution to the project.
Right.
So there's that one also, but I think some of the universities do offer you to have an upper hand, so you get to choose. Like you've been given a lot of subjects, like subject topics on what you want to research, and then you get to choose a topic and carry out your own research. So basically, the research in masters is a part of a bigger one, but it's a small part of a research you're doing by yourself, not helping or anything. It's your research, you do it, carry out the experiments, you write. So it's basically like a mini thesis to just get a stepping stone on your PhD.
Right. Right. So, what do you recommend to somebody who's aiming for a research-based program, planning to do, let's say, a PhD later? So they should join a peer group, maybe the seniors in the research, or they should be independently researching.
I would say being independent is very important. So I think that if you want to choose, you need to choose a course which offers you that they have a long-term research offering in the coursework, like almost 6 months, if that's what you want to do.
Right.
Because being independent helps you to obviously develop ideas. I think this is where I got my idea. Obviously, my PhD idea was entirely me. It wasn't an existing PhD or something. It was entirely my own idea, where I actually developed while doing my master's. So yes, if you really want to go into a PhD and you really enjoy doing research, that's to look into is if they're offering you an independent research program.
So, as an international applicant, how easy, difficult it is to get into a proper research-based program in the UK?
Um, my kind of situation was a bit on a different side than probably you are going to apply now because I applied in the midst of the world pandemic.
Yeah.
People thought I was stupid because they're like, there's major crisis happening. I was like, well, you know what? I was bored. for my 6 months of my lockdown. That's when my brain started, going full on. Um, so the process can vary from person to person.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, there are two ways you could apply for a PhD.
Right.
One is there is already some supervisor or someone in some university has come up with this PhD topic that they want students to come and carry out, which is I
Right.
think almost every normal path which everyone takes. And the second one is what I did, and as well most of my friends, to be fair, actually did, which was very refreshing to see that I was the only crazy one. It's actually come up with your own PhD topic.
Right.
But this is a bit of a hard process because
Right.
it did take so much time. So I started this all the way in June 2020.
Right.
And that's when I was doing your lockdown, is when I started this process. Because obviously the applications start in September. Um, so it was from June 2020, I started this process,
Yeah.
which involved a lot. First being what's like, obviously I had an idea on what I knew this research idea that I wanted to do research with. So the second one was trying to find out if this idea I had was original. Because the main thing for PhD is your idea needs to be original. It shouldn't be an existing. It should be the point where you actually struggle to find papers on it. Is what should be the thing, and obviously I did find it was quite original, and also was like, I'll go forward with it. And the third step for me was to actually find who is going to be my supervisor. Because for my PhD research, I went on more of environmental chemistry. So it's not me asking someone from my green chemistry. It was more, it would be very department. It would have been an interdepartment within my university. So yes, it is a whole, as I said, the path I chose is more on a very a tough, a bit more hard.
Consuming, I think, because we had to
It's
spend.
more consuming than hard, I would say. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's more time consuming because obviously, if there's an already an existing PhD topic,
Yeah.
and if you think you're suited for it, go for it. Just go for it if that's what you want to do. But for me, is as I said, I enjoyed it, and I also think it's just because I had a lot of time in my hand at that point.
Right.
I think many of us, whoever applied for a self PhD right now, had too much time in our hand at that point. So we all did this very weird thing of choosing our path by ourselves. But yeah, so it was like choosing then I had to choose my supervisor. And obviously, again, here as well, I did explore multiple universities which I would like to go to, and which universities were actually heavily based on my research as well. And there were three universities I did come into, and it was York, Leeds, and University of Edinburgh. Obviously, University of Edinburgh was my top priority this time, but I had to change it, which I'll let you know soon why, because again, it was a global pandemic happening. But yeah, so that's the second step where I chose the universities, and then after choosing your universities, you go into the departments. Like, so my first thing was to go into Department of Environment if they had it, and checking because obviously the department also have the supervisors like who works and so it's checking the supervisor and what the research is on. And after that, and you'll be like, okay, you know what, this supervisor might be suitable for me because he has done this research, this the field, that he can for me assistance. So yes, as I said, it is a very long and time consuming. I did. And then after choosing the supervisors, you send them out an email.
Right.
The good thing is, people don't ignore you here. So if you're scared that, oh, you know what, there's no point, I'll send out an email. No, actually, the professors and the supervisors here, regardless if they know you, if they don't know you, if you're a stranger, they do respond to your email. It may take some time don't give up, but they do respond to your emails because I've
Right.
got response from all the people I've applied to.
Okay.
It's quite surprising because I wasn't expecting it. But I got from all of them, and everyone were quite nice. And luckily, as I said, I do like research. If you can see, I do tend to do a lot of research, not just in my subject, but just in general as well. So the supervisors I chose were perfect match. That everyone were quite excited to,
Right.
do this PhD idea. They're like, okay, that's, and then they send you the stuff they want to hear from you,
Right.
which is the final, which is not the final step. I think the second last step is creating a research proposal.
Right.
The main step for the path, regardless of the path you're choosing, even if you're choosing an already existing topic, or if you're choosing my path, which is making up your own, regardless of both of them, the main thing is research proposal.
Right.
So, which I feel like you should start practicing from your masters and how to write and what's the things you need if you really want to go into that field. Because one thing about the PhDs here is depending. I mean, obviously, lab work is the main thing. That's where it is. But writing is hard.
Okay.
It is hard. I'm struggling. It's hard. I'm not. It's fun, but also it's hard at the same time. It's not just like normal writing where you can just write anything. It's very academic based and focused.
Yeah.
So it's yes. So the research proposal I sent, it did take around I think 2 weeks for me to write.
Oh.
Um,
I don't think that's a lot. 2 weeks is a good time.
Yeah, so the thing is, like, it was a very rough research phase, so I did in the 2 weeks of time. Like, it was basically what ideas I wanted. So they told me what I needed to have, like an aim and objective, my research plan, what I want to focus on, my hypothesis as well. So I was like, okay, this is a lot, but it's fine. As I said, I had a lot of time in my hand. I think at this point, like, happy to do it. I did it, and then I sent out my initial research proposal to all the universities I got into. Obviously, some of them will try to change it up based on the stuff they have, like equipment or the resources they have. They'll try to change it up. Again, it's up to you if you want to, if you're okay with it, or if you want to. You want to stick with what you want. And obviously, that was fine. The thing with my path, I think one of the main thing with my path is it's not funded. So the thing is, like, you need to come up with the funding by yourself. Obviously, universities will help you if they have any existing source of funding. They'll send you a bunch of links where you just apply and do all that. Because with the already existing PhD topic is that there is funding. That's the reason why they put it out and they want students. But here the path is like, because it's your idea, so you need to get. So it's basically starting from the rock bottom here.
Right.
Unless you're desperate to do this, I would not suggest this on anyone anymore. Unless you're actually like you really have this idea you want to research on and no one's offering you, go for it. If not, if you just want to develop your research skills, and that's the reason why you want to get a PhD, so that you can develop research skills and all, choose an already existing PhD topic because it'll be straightforward, and the only thing you would have to focus on is your research topic, like writing the research proposal and all that. So yeah, this is the main thing I would want to tell anyone who's trying to apply for PhDs. Yeah, once we get all the funding, it is a time-consuming process, but I think it just happens quickly as well. It's like once you start going, it happens quickly, and then once your research proposal, they send you a lot of comments on your research proposals and how to improve it and all that to apply. for fundings, you do need a very good and strong research proposal.
Right.
So all that, drafts, changing research proposal, it will take you almost a month. So basically, after 2 weeks, it took me a month to actually get a proper, strong research proposal.
Right.
And then I got selected from multiple, and I got selected from 3 universities, Leeds, York, and Edinburgh.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Edinburgh, as I said, my first option was Edinburgh because they had all the things I wanted. And they have a very big research center on what I
Right.
wanted to research as
Right.
well. But unfortunately, Edinburgh wasn't having any funding options because it was
Oh.
COVID time and they were already lagging behind.
Oh.
They were behind their students' admissions for masters as well. So they actually suggested me to wait a year
All right.
to reapply.
Mhm.
I mean, I think I could have waited a year, but also I was just like, if I wait a year, I feel like I would lose the interest of it.
Right.
So that was my thinking. It may differ from person to person. If someone's okay for waiting a year, that's great.
Right.
But I wasn't really okay. It wasn't the best idea, but also I felt like if I took a break, it would be a very long break, and I wouldn't be coming back into academics anytime soon.
1 year would have been, I think, and still you'd been in the UK that 1 year.
Yeah. So I was just like, you know what? Let's just see what the other universities are offering.
Right.
Obviously, Leeds didn't have the resources I wanted to carry out my experiments. So they did offer change in my topic, like what changes we can, which I was okay with and I was taking into consideration. But then University of York, they actually they had all the sources and they were happy to go with my project as it is.
Right. And I think
Um,
you're comfortable, you already settled at York.
yeah, and I was just like, as I already was in York this while, I won't find any change or anything. And as I said, they did offer me, like, they were like, we can carry out your research as the way it is. And the supervisor I've got, my first supervisor from the environment department, he was great. He has years of experience in soil research. And I was like, this is great. This is a great way to learn from him.
Right.
And yeah, that made me choose. I was like, you know what, let's just go with the University of York as I'm already used to it. It's going to be pretty straightforward. And I went with the University of York, and obviously, then you have a formal interview so that they get to know you within my supervisor and him. And then after the interview, obviously, the supervisor will either, select you or not select you. It's based on them. Everything will happen in a day. As I said, it is a long process, but happens so fast, you won't even realize.
Yeah. I think the students wouldn't get the time. They're already involved into the entire process every single day. So
yeah. So, and then obviously you get selected, you get your offer letter as a straightforward process, your masters from there onwards.
Yeah.
But my main take from this here is, if you want to do a PhD, because you want to develop your research skills, and that's what you've been aiming for your entire life, try choosing already existing PhD topics.
Right. No, that's a brilliant takeaway, even the students to be guided.
Yeah, because I did that as well. I did look into the existing PhD topics. It's not just like but I wasn't like very inspired by already existing ones, and the research I was doing at this was quite limited. So I also didn't find that many PhD topics available, and also there were other countries, which means I had to move a country, and I was just like, I don't think if I wanted to move to that many countries, I am not. I mean, some people enjoy it. If you're like, again, it's a person to person, the journey differs from person to person. And if you're kind of a person who does enjoy going to different countries and experiencing the thing, great. Then you can obviously choose the country you would like. I'm the kind of a person who's just like, at times I'm just like, I can't be bothered. I would like to be my comfort zone. And I know this place already so well Know the language, know the people. I don't want to go into another country where I need to restart again and just,
Right.
especially I think for PhD, I didn't really want to restart my entire life again where I make new friends, learn the culture because it's actually time consuming and energy consuming.
Right.
Here is like I knew everything, so it would be pretty like just going back home or something. It wouldn't be very different for me here. But again, yes, I did that. I couldn't find any interesting or inspiring topics for me to do my PhD in. So that's when I went to the path of choosing my own PhD topic and going to the long, time-consuming path. Um, but yeah, so if your main thing is to develop a research skill, please choose an already existing PhD topic because it'll be easy for you. The only thing you would have to worry about is your research proposal and passing your interview and all that.
Right.
But if you're bored like me and just want to, have some
I
fun with
think
your
more
life.
than more if you have very clear, target, you have a vision with what you're researching. I mean, a lot of
Yeah,
people would want to just get into, but I think I've seen some students who are really passionate about what they're doing and what they want to solve. I think you're one of them.
yeah, like I think if you're really like if you find something you really want to research on,
Yeah.
go for it. I mean, as I said, it is time consuming. It can be very I wouldn't say stressful in regard. I wasn't actually stressful for my PhD because I was in the mindset of like, if I get it, I get it. Because it wasn't just like, oh, I really need to get it kind of thing. I wasn't like, in, I wouldn't go in that mindset as well because that's not for PhD. You can have that mindset for masters
Mm.
because PhD is a very cutthroat. It's not like everyone can do it. No,
That's true.
it is a kind of so. I would go into mindset being very non-stressful. Don't stress it out. Just go for it. If you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, it's fine. There's obviously other way you can learn research, like but I wasn't quite stressed, but I think it was more time consuming, and I had the time in my hand at that point. Luckily, because the whole world stopped, so I had the entire world time in my hand. Um, but I think in the current situation, it would be unless like obviously with someone who has taken a long break, they might have been developing ideas during their break before coming into PhDs. Um, so yeah, it is actually quite fun and inspiring to do your own research because I can go proudly saying, or I can even do it and write in my CV that everything is done by me, which is a major skill which every company looks for in the future. Like from the starting process to finishing, like designing the experiments, designing like what to do and what's suitable for it was done solely by me. Obviously, my supervisors had comments on it and how to change it, how to make it better and easier, but everything else was just done by me.
Right.
So that's one thing you can obviously feel proud about, especially with doing your own research, is you have done everything. You're like you had your it's your mini lab and everything. It's all you. So it does feel refreshing in that point of view. If you look at after 3 years, be like, okay, you know what, this seems cool. Like I've done everything. Um, yeah, it
That's
is.
great. It's definitely a great achievement because it's not easy to
No,
sort of,
yeah.
migrate to that. But I think you've done it all through these years.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the whole process of it. As I said, process of the roller coaster. I think I had my roller coaster of emotions once I started my PhD more than actually applying for it. I was quite casual about applying the PhD, I think. Because I was more in the mindset, like, you know what? Because it's not like it was a requirement for me or something. Like, I really needed to do a PhD. I wanted to do a PhD. I think I wanted the doctor title so badly. I was like, I want to do a PhD for the doctor title. So I was like, I will do it, but if I don't get it, I'll be fine with it. It's not like the end of the world for me or something.
Right.
So I think I went in a more non-stressful way, and I got it, which was very exciting. Actually, I think when my brother told I got it, it was actually quite exciting. It was like, okay, didn't expect that. Um,
That's a brilliant achievement to put in all that work and actually not be stressed about a lot, because I think most of the
Yeah.
students are more stressed than I think they were. So I
Yeah,
think,
but I think it's the thing is like as I said, focus on your research proposal. That's your main thing. If you get your research proposal up to the point, um, there's no way you won't get it in.
yeah,
Because obviously, I think, yeah, I think that's the main thing, and also get like focus on like try to show your. I think one of the thing, like when you submit your research proposal, the thing they see is if you're able to actually research in depth.
Hmm.
Like, if you're able to cultivate the ideas on what to do,
Right.
that is the main thing you need to show in your research proposal, because your aims and objective and hypothesis is like, okay, he or she has the capacity to delve further into research and do what they want to do.
Hmm.
Um, I think focus on your research proposal as much as you can. Try showing your research skills. Go into depth. It will take hours of, the finding the papers and all that. You need to do it. Don't skip that step. Try to find
Right.
papers, the research, if it exists or not. Because
Right.
if you realize that there has been research going on in your field, you will struggle to find originality.
Right.
Because originality is the main thing here.
Right.
So the first thing is always try finding papers on the thing you want to do. If there's already research going on and if there are already papers getting published, um, so the thing is like, I won't say there's no point because obviously each research is different. But if you find like someone's actually doing exact copy paste of your research, try speaking to your supervisors and see if you can change it, tweak it in any way to make it more original. Because the reason why this is made to be original is when you actually step into your PhD program, when you start having your progressions and you have meetings after every year, you have like a panel gathering where they question you.
Okay.
And people I think once you get into a PhD, you're fine. No, you can still fail every year. Like year 1, year 2, year 3. Okay, year 1, year 2. Year 3 as well. Actually, to be fair, the thing is like you can still fail in your PhD. It's not like it's people think like it's not like undergrad or masters. It's just your PhD. You have the upper hand. No, you can still fail if you don't try to show your research skills.
Right.
This is where the roller coaster of emotions actually start. Because
Right.
I think that's another thing people fail to realize when they apply for PhD, especially if you have nobody doing a PhD, because you can't really offer, guidance and assistance. Like for me, like nobody in my family has anyone done a PhD. So I was the first one to do. So there's no one who can give me an insight on it.
Right.
And I don't think I had any of my friends as well by this point. So it was all on me. So yeah, the first year was quite a roller coaster. But I think from after that onwards, I did pick it up.
Right.
Still doing it. Hopefully it ends well. But yeah, don't go thinking that this is it. Once you get in, you're fine. No, you're not fine.
Yeah. Even that's why I tell my students, even the ones who are going for masters, they're so busy, thinking of okay, we're gonna get there, that they forget what they're getting into. So I think it's very important to do a complete analysis of what they would be able to do, what they should do once they're there, and it's a lot of hard work. For most of these applicants, the life changes once they're there. So they're cooking on their own, they're taking care of their clothes, they have to deal with academics, they have to do pretty much everything that they invested for, networking and everything. So it does take a lot, being especially an international student. Now, I think being a PhD graduate, one thing is that you'll be working with a lot of graduates, master's level students who want to serve part time on research. They want to help you out. Typically taking up a RA or a TA position, right? So how easy it is for an international student to get that, and then what are the factors that you would look into, when you have to, let's say, give this position to somebody?
Um, so obviously the PhD students have from the second year onwards, they
Mhm.
have the option to apply for teaching assistant jobs,
Mhm.
um, which is quite straightforward. There is no partiality or discrimination on who to, especially between like if they want to choose UK students or
Right.
international students.
Yeah.
No, I think obviously it's very straightforward, like applying a job where you give your CV, and obviously it depends from department. I mean, universities, because I don't know how it works at the universities.
Mhm.
Just me particularly about York, and then you choose on. So basically, first itself, they give you an Excel sheet on what courses they need a teaching assistant from.
Okay.
So obviously, based on your knowledge and based on your subject knowledge and what you have done, you can choose the courses
Mhm.
and apply for it. And obviously, the professor who's actually doing that course will select you based on your knowledge, or more. It's basically based on your knowledge and how you
Right.
can wellly deliver this
Mhm.
course to students. Um, so it is quite a straightforward, and there is no, as I said, it's quite easy.
Yeah.
Obviously, you as an international students, you do have the minimum work hour requirements. So as long as you meet, they'll try to meet it. So they won't be able
Mhm.
to give you as many subjects as you can see. Some of the UK students have a lot more. They're teaching a lot more subjects than
Yeah.
you are. It doesn't mean it's that they're smart or they're better. It's just because you have a limited working hours, which they have to take into consideration. So that's the thing. It's quite straightforward.
Mhm.
Anyone can get in as long as you
Okay.
think you can deliver the course.
So again, it requires a student to be mailing the professor, typically talking of what they want.
So basically, this is done by the department itself. The department will send out an email if they need a teaching assistant. Like they'll be like,
Okay.
they'll be like, okay, we need teaching assistant for this and this courses.
Right.
It can be multiple courses, and it'd be like if you think you're suited for it, fill out this Google form or something and attach your CV or something like that.
Right.
So it's basically
Right.
filling out a Google form,
Right.
and then and then the supervisor, I mean the professors, and they all skim it, choose who they want.
Mhm.
Um,
Right.
yes, there's a chance that you may not get selected.
Mhm.
Um, I wouldn't say don't get discouraged by it if you don't get selected, because in the end, a teaching assistant it's a very quite an important job, obviously. So the
Mhm.
professors always at times tend to look at someone they can rely heavily on.
Mhm.
They know that the student, if they select for teaching assistant, he or she will be there to be there. Will not get tangled with other stuff and miss this. Um, So there's a high chance at times, like especially for students who are doing lab-based research
Mhm.
like me.
Mhm.
Yeah, one of the reason why I didn't be a teaching assistant is because lab-based work
Mhm.
requires full attention. Because you can't just run an experiment in the lab and then
Mhm.
be like, you know what, I'll just quickly go teach. Because if you have a class, you need to go teach, right? You can't
Mhm.
really balance. It's very hard to balance because lab experiments have their own. It's like I feel like lab-based experiments, especially experiments, have their own mood. It's like they're so it's so weird. It just keeps changing. Nothing goes
Yeah.
according to your plan. They're the most moodiest things ever. So you need to be there to,
Yeah.
or like you can step out for a few minutes, but also it's just few minutes because if something happens, you do have to go running back because you don't want the entire lab to burn down or
Right.
anything. So doing that and teaching assistant job, it is quite a tough handle.
Mhm.
Um, and also it may require a lot more of your time.
Right.
And so it is like having your whole 24 hours of your time to it.
Right.
Um, mm, which if you think you can do it, great. I personally didn't think I could do it because it means I'm going to be having to teach, and then later on from the evening onwards, me working, and then it's like basically having just dedicating my entire 3 years for this and not having any sort of other extracurricular stuff happening. I
Right.
don't think I was. I personally didn't think I could have done it.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, but regardless, I did. I was doing another part-time job on the side base, which was a maker, which I
Okay.
was able to manage more
Right.
my research than taking a class. Because
Right.
taking a class, you do need to prepare the work plan for it by yourself. You would have to mark assignments, and all that is comes on you. So as long as you're okay with handling extra workload of doing the markings and all, fine. If not, yes, just have a rethink on it. International students do get selected quite easily, so there's no worry about that.
Right.
Even research assistant jobs, if you want to, there are a few they do put, but like have some mini researches happening within universities, like some of the supervisors wants help or some. They do give you like they pay for you as well, like £10 an hour or something like that. But again, I would say because the thing is like you're taking all this extra workload, so you will have to do 50-50. You won't be able to do 100% of your PhD.
Okay.
My aim was to finish my PhD in 3 years and do as much as I can in it in 3 years. So I wasn't going to take any extra workload because if I take a research assistant job, that's an extra research. So I would have to do like a 50-50. And as I said again, it will time consume, it will take all your time. If you're okay with it, if you think you have the capacity, and also other thing you need to keep in mind is mental health, very important. If you think you can handle it, go for it. If not, if you think it's going to be too much pressure, I wouldn't suggest in this stage of your life. But yeah, if you want to apply it, it is quite a straightforward. It's all based on your knowledge, on how much you know about the subject, more than you being an international student. But yeah, they're quite easy to apply to.
Okay.
And they always get advertised by your department through your emails. So you will always be aware on if they need, if there's a job opening or anything.
Right. Fair enough. So at this point, looking at the opportunities for a research graduate or somebody who's done a PhD, or even in fact like research-based jobs in the UK, especially because we all know that UK came out of recession as per the official statement. So being on ground there, if anybody wants to get to a research-based job, being an international student, how easy, difficult that is at this point?
So it's so hard with the job market. I feel like it's waddling. It's not like, so obviously my LinkedIn is filled with multiple job opportunities in UK. So it's not that I can apply for a job and I'll probably get it as well because obviously I have my PhD degree. I've also got multiple people. So the first thing obviously to do is main thing, people update your LinkedIn, make LinkedIn your new social media. So keep updating it, and you keep getting job opportunities because I've gotten so many people message, email, DMing me in LinkedIn for multiple research opportunities you're interested in and all that. I think in terms of getting it, it's fine. You will get a job. It's not like you won't get a job. The thing which will actually stop you getting from your job is our visas.
All right.
So obviously, you need to apply for a job where the company's offering you a work visa.
Right.
If the company has no means of doing it, there is no point.
And how exactly do you figure that out?
Obviously, you would if a company is offering you if your company is offering you a job, like as I said, the first thing you have to ask them is, I'm an international student and I would need a work visa.
Right.
And if the company's like, oh, that's great, we can do that for you, great, apply for it. If they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, that's not we can't really do that, you have to get your own visa.
Right.
But we'll be happy to pay some amount for it or something like that. You can take that into consideration if you really want to stay in UK and work.
Right.
But yes, that's the main. And the other thing is, when you start searching for jobs itself, try seeing if you can find any. Try starting with companies which already offer work visas. It is quite limited, especially for countries. For these kind of jobs are mainly technical or data based. You will find very less in science or research based. With science or research based, I think it's just like it comes in the next step. So you basically apply for a job and then ask them if they have the work visa, because they don't really advertise work visa companies which does research these jobs. So if you really want to work in UK, you need to start planning months ahead. So basically, if you're graduating, let's take my example. Okay, let's take my example. If I'm graduating in, let's say, December, that's when my visa will prevail till, including, Viva corrections and everything till December. I would have to start planning probably this from January onwards if I had to work in UK. The best way to do is create an Excel sheet on what companies you've applied to and to have a better understanding on what's happening, rather than just doing it all random applying. Try being more organized when it comes to this, so that you can have a physical view on what's happening in front of you and you know better. But yes, the thing is, like, recessions happen everywhere. The job market, they always researchers are always priorities. I don't think they get least priority. We're always priorities, and companies always look to hire researchers. Right now, especially in the age of having startup companies, many of these startup companies want researchers, do further. So in terms of finding a job, it's not hard. The hardest bit is finding a job which will provide you a work visa.
Right.
This is another option which UK has introduced, I think almost 2 years back or a year back, of the graduate visa. Not sugarcoating, graduate visas are expensive. They are very expensive. And if you think you're not going to get anything out of this, don't apply for it. So, because PhDs get 2 years or 3 years, I think, and masters get 2 years. Graduate visa.
Yeah.
It's great if you think you can sponsor yourself. The graduate visas are quite expensive because you pay 3 years, so it's like whatever they show you amount, it's into 3. I don't know if people forget to do that or something. It's actually into 3, and it is very expensive. Obviously, people will be like, oh, once I start working, I'll get the job, I can make the money out of it. No, you don't make the money out of it, because another thing people forget to realize is in UK, you get taxed on your salary. Around 15 or 20% gets taxed out. So let's say they're offering you so and so amount, and you think you can save up this and cover up your graduate visa. No, with the so and so amount they offer you, once they take the tax off, it's going to get deducted. If they say 20,000, in the end, in your pocket, you'll probably end with 17 or 16,000.
Right.
And along the 17 or 16,000, you have to pay your rent,
Right.
do your
Utilities, everything.
work with the money before you
Right.
start saving up. And
Yeah.
obviously, if you start saving up as well, it's just very few pounds you save up.
Right.
Obviously, as a research job, you do tend to get paid more than 20,000. That was just a rough amount. You do get paid, so obviously you do get more. But yes, if you think you really actually quite desperate to work in UK because that's where you think you want to make your life out,
Yeah.
and this is the best option for you, go for it.
Yeah.
Yes, it will be a lot if the company's not offering you work visa, go for the graduate visa. It is
Right.
expensive, but if you think it will offer you a lot more than working back in your country, go for it. And then obviously you can save up and remake the money. Because once you work 3 years in a particular company, they automatically later on will offer you a work visa.
Right.
And also, even though you can still start looking into other companies time, till because you'll have 3 years to
Right.
look into it.
Right.
But yeah, it depends upon I would say more on desperation, depending on if you really want to work in UK.
Right.
As for me, as I said, I was like, because obviously I come from Dubai, so which is quite different, and I have a huge job opportunities in Dubai as well. So I was like desperate enough to apply for UK jobs. Surprisingly, when half the UK is moving to Dubai, I think I was just like, okay, fine, you know what? I may as well go there. I belong there. And again, I have a longer visa. I have like a 10-year visa in Dubai. And the pay in Dubai is double than what I would get here. And we don't have any taxes and all. So after weighing my options, I was like, why am I stressing myself out? I'm just going to go to Dubai for now. As I said, it's not, even if you decide to move back to your country, wherever you're from, it doesn't mean you still can't apply for jobs in UK.
Right.
You can apply jobs from anywhere in any part of the world. And once you get, obviously you can move back.
Right.
Especially, I think this is mainly for PhD students and master students. And don't stress yourself out if if you want to work in UK and you really don't have time. I think the main thing you need to focus is on finishing your PhD. And then once you move back, you can always apply anywhere, and you can still get a job and then come back.
Right.
Unless, obviously, as I said, the second option is you pay money and get the graduate visa.
Right.
I mean, I have friends doing that. I have multiple friends doing that. But for them, I think it's more like it's because they want to settle in UK. So that's the thing. They want to settle in UK and build a life in UK, which was in my case. I wasn't like, I don't mind where I build my life. It just depends. So yeah, it's not hard to get a job. You'll have multiple job opportunities if you keep updating your LinkedIn and keeping an eye on it. The main thing you need to look into is if your company offers you a work visa.
Right.
If they don't offer you a work visa, obviously you can go into the graduate visa option where you pay the money and get it. Which I only suggest if you want to build your life in UK and if you really want to stay. But obviously, apart from that, you have postdocs and fellowships to look into.
Yeah.
Which, again, it depends if you want to continue on researching.
Research or not? Yes.
Trust me, after reaching a third year of PhD, I know how badly I wanted to be a researcher. The thing may fade away. You'll be like, okay, I may need a break from this.
Yes. Okay.
It's not just me. I think I can vouch for so many people like me who desperately want to break from here.
Yeah.
because it can be, as I said, it can be consuming in your mental health as well. You would need a break from it.
Yeah.
But if you're like, you're okay and you want to go for a postdoc or a fellowship, you can apply for
Yes.
a postdoc and fellowships.
Yeah.
They're advertised the same way as a PhD is advertised. So you just keep checking on Google or at times LinkedIn. LinkedIn, if you follow a particular university or particular people who are, supervising PhD students, they
Right.
post and fellowship opportunities. And so that's one of the easier way to get a job in UK is
Yeah.
going through a postdoc or a fellowship because it's like very much like PhD. They offer you the visa, um, they take care of everything else, and you get
Right.
paid.
Absolutely.
Um, but also there is a small chance at times because obviously postdocs and fellowships, which are funded, external
Mm.
funding, various other sources,
Mm. Mm.
there could be a chance that they may not have enough funding to cover your
Funds.
visa.
Right. Right.
Um, this is where, again, it's the same thing. You need to talk with your supervisor, or you need to talk with the supervisor who you're applying postdoc with. I need
Right.
a work visa. Will you be able to pay fund me through
Need
it,
a
like
very
through the
transparent conversation with whether it be a
yes.
supervisor
As
or
an
whether.
international student, you need to be very straightforward on that. You need a work visa.
Right.
If you're not being transparent, if you're just like, you know what, I'll take care of myself, it's fine. Fine, that's okay. If you're able to get the graduate visa, which I think is very quite few because once you see the price, I don't think everyone's like, oh, I'll get the graduate visa because they don't look at the how much it costs. Because I was as well like that. I was like, oh, I'll get a graduate visa unless I think was it in December or something. Actually, just started checking on it. It is too much. It's actually too much, especially for 3 years. Think it's more better for masters
Mhm. Mhm.
because you're not spending that thing on your PhD, but you've already spent so much on your in terms of staying here and all. You start rethinking your decisions if you want
Yeah.
to spend that much on graduate visa. And you also think like if you're a PhD student, the company, if they want you, they will want you. They
Right.
will do anything to get you.
Right.
So because you're a PhD, you need to have a standard. So I think you need to start thinking of your worth as well and not just like trying to because obviously we work so hard to get this degree for a reason. Um, so I think it is quite expensive. So I would like anything if you want to work in UK, be transparent that you're an international student. You need a work visa.
Right. Makes sense. Absolutely. I think
Yeah, otherwise, I think some of the companies also offer you, like as I said, they'd be like, you get your graduate visa, we'll pay half of it,
half of it. Yes.
or something like that. They'll try to negotiate with you.
Yeah.
Again, I said in the end, I think it depends upon individual, like what they want and how desperate they are to stay in UK and
Faithful.
continue working.
Right. Right. Fair enough. Definitely. I think talking about all this, firstly, that's wholesome of information, especially for somebody who wants to get UK. I think we've talk of very practical things that you don't literally find on the internet. And these are the reality of things that students get to know once they are actually there. Most of the students don't know this is the scenario once they're there. So I think, first of all, this is summary of what questions I had. And talking of this podcast, I think it was an absolute delight, first of all, talking to a person who's that well expressive. Secondly, I think you are the one thing that literally have been, admiring all this while is the kind of help you want to furnish to the, aspirants who want to go in the future. And it was a wonderful podcast. So much of information, literally, that's going to be, I think, a lot for students to watch in one go. They're going to make notes. And anybody, I think, who wants to reach out, get more information, I'll definitely be routing them to you to get more help and knowledge about it. But I think I loved speaking to you, Monica. How was your experience with with the podcast that we've had today?
It was great. It was lovely to share my experience. Because, as I said, moving to a different country isn't a smooth ride.
Yeah.
There are always bumps in the road. But obviously, the first thing it's been, yeah, it's sharing my journey and everything. It's been very. I think I just realized how much I went through it right now speaking to it because you don't realize unless you speak
Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
about it. So, yeah, I think I realized how much of a journey it was,
Yeah.
and I'm glad I could help others um, take the right path in their
Yeah,
life.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.